One of the main aims of what we're trying to do is develop curriculum and education, bringing together issues around climate change, sustainability, greening, green skills. But the difference being that instead of following, existing narratives that are usually taken from the global south, the pedagogy around that, the content that's used to understand these issues, we want to develop such a curriculum where we bring in the rich perspective of where a lot of these problems are taking place.
A realization we had while writing this project was our needs could be very different from what is being advocated in the northern countries or the Western countries or the developed countries, however you want to say it. But the green skills that we need in a country like Bangladesh, who is very much affected by climate change, that is the skills that we need to be determined by us. We have several universities working together who all of us bring our different strengths to the table. All of us are very passionate about learning and teaching. And the way we are designing this is to cater to young professionals who are in the field, people who have just finished their university degree and are getting into the field.
I think it's very important to have climate change curricula and even the knowledge around climate change and health, gender, to be very contextualized. That's very important for countries in Bangladesh which have a lot of experience, case studies, lessons learned. And this needs to be shared more globally. That's one. Two, I think communities are key in trying to understand what kind of content and curricula is important. And community engagement, learning from them, their understandings of health and gender and lived experiences is key. Finally, I think any kind of training or learning has to be extremely participatory, interactive. And there's a lot to learn, and context matter. So it's not just about taking case studies from different countries. What's absolutely important is that content has to be generated from stakeholders, faculty, practitioners, community, living and working in those respective countries. And I hope with this project, we actually create a globally Southern-led curricula on climate change, sustainable development, and health for the future for many, many countries all over the world to learn from.
So in developing the short course and identifying the demand-driven green skills that are needed to be incorporated in the course, we arranged a series of workshops with NGOs, private sectors, academicians, and employers from other sectors. And these workshops help us to identify the demand-driven green skills that are really very important for tomorrow's jobs in the era of green economic transformation. So after that workshop, we identify these skills, then we collaborate with two foreign universities, University of Maastricht and Heidelberg, to outline the course contents and to design different sessions of this workshop. So basically, we, independent university, are designing the short course for fresh graduates and senior undergraduate students.
We have done mock sessions of some of the material that we have designed so far, and the mock sessions were really eye-opening. It actually showed us how different it is to do a session practically as opposed to just designing it on paper. By doing these mock sessions, some of the gaps in our preparations have been exposed, and we have received some excellent feedback from the experts present.
And we believe when we will implement this short course, it will generate a huge response from the senior graduates in different fields, including the environment graduates, and it will help them to be more sustainable in their workplace and also in their career life.
We have been actively developing a short course for climate change professionals. That means early career professionals who are interested to work with climate change on the field with community. We have already done a series of workshops where we invited academics, where we invited private companies, private businesses, as well as students and NGOs, international NGOs, to tell us what kind of skills they feel are missing from the current workforce. And this is basically how we identified the skills and developed the course based on that. Most of the skills that has been identified are certain soft skills such as empathy, cultural sensitivity, leadership, critical thinking. So we are really trying to find ways to engage students so that they can develop their skills in this scenario. And right now we already have a full-fledged course that we have developed based on these skills. And hopefully the in-person courses that we have developed will encourage students to develop these skills as well as broaden their horizon.
Now we have arrived at a stage where we have co-developed our courses, and we will soon move to developing the MOOCs. And it involves a lot of community components and hands-on activities. So trying to find out a way to translate those activities and components virtually is most certainly not going to be easy.
That actually integrate the field experience into their courses. So this is going to be a completely unique course. And I think blending in different teaching approach, philosophies, methods, and pedagogical practices actually makes this course a very unique one.
We are looking around it, trying to find alternatives, and definitely having to think outside of the box to make sure that the quality and the goal that we want to achieve remains the same when the MOOCs are developed. I'm pretty sure that these courses are going to serve both the learners and the practitioners from the southern region, but also beyond the border.
My name is Esther Jurgens. I'm from the Netherlands and I'm working as program coordinator and lecturer tutor with the University of Maastricht in the Netherlands. We are one of the collaborating partners, and so what struck me this week, and that's why I think this program is really unique and really special and became really dear to my heart. Throughout the week, I felt that I've been in many workshops and trainings, either as a participant, but also as a facilitator, a lecturer, or a trainer. In this workshop, I felt some things that I do believe are important. I saw the level of commitment and engagement of the team, of my colleagues here. I feel that they also believe in what we are doing here. There is a sense of urgency that is underlying the let's say, the courses that are being developed, but also the work that we are making it happen. And I think that is also important for creating a good end result. In the end, is that we have a creative, dynamic atmosphere among the team. The second part I want to mention is that it's, for me, a privilege to be here to work on something that is a new way of teaching, a new way of learning.
বেসিক্যালি এই কোর্সটা হচ্ছে আমাদের জন্য অনেক নিউ একটা এক্সপিরিয়েন্স ছিল, বিকজ আমরা গ্রিন স্কিলস মানে আমরা যেভাবে চিন্তা করতাম যে হোয়াটস দ্য গ্রিন স্কিলস আর, আমরা আসলে ওভাবে জিনিসটা রিলেট করতে পারতাম না আনলেস অ্যান্ড আনলাইক আমরা যদি এই কোর্সটা না করতাম। বিকজ আমরা অ্যানালাইটিক্যাল থিঙ্কিং অ্যান্ড ক্রিটিক্যাল থিঙ্কিং, এনহ্যান্সিং আওয়ার লাইক ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জ নলেজ, এই জিনিসগুলো হচ্ছে আমাদের বেসিক নলেজ ছিল। বাট অ্যাজ গ্রিন স্কিলস আমরা এটাকে দেখা তখনই স্টার্ট করেছি যখন আমরা এই কোর্সটা করেছি।
I have to learn, I have to know a lot of things about environment related. But what is most exciting part was that it was not one-dimensional, rather it was a multi-dimensional point of view in the course. So we learn about climate change, obviously it's a normal thing, but the policies that are implemented in the climate change, how gender sensitivity can be included in the terms of climate change or other environmental degradation, pollution, and whatnot.
হচ্ছে কোন ধরনের সামারাইজ বা থিওরি বেসড নলেজ, দেন হচ্ছে আমরা অনেক সময় থিসিস পেপার বা রিসার্চ পেপার বা প্রজেক্ট পেপার টাইপের একটা জিনিস পাই, দেন ওটার উপর ক্লাস করে দেন হচ্ছে আমরা ইনস্ট্যান্টলি হচ্ছে আমরা একটা ডিসকাশন বা হ্যান্ডস অন লাইক পুরো প্র্যাকটিক্যাল নলেজ টাইপেরও আমাদের সেশন করানো হয়েছে। এবং সেগুলোর পরে একটা কন্টিনিউয়াসলি 2-3 সপ্তাহ এরকম করার পরে আজকে যখন এরকম পুরো ডিরেক্ট ফিল্ড ভিজিটে এসেছি, তো আমার মনে হয় যে এই কোর্সের যে ম্যাটেরিয়ালগুলো এগুলো খুবই বেশি হেল্প করেছে।
The core objective of the project was to shift the way Curricula engages with lived realities of climate change impact, and the key dimension of this was the development of the short courses, which can make a more critical and contextual understanding of climate change impacts more accessible to people joining the workforce within the Bangladeshi context, so that their impact across whichever field or sector that they may be working in are rooted in the knowledge of what is happening to the communities on the ground level. The way the courses were developed was very unique in my perspective because it did not treat the Global South as a case study example of the climate crisis, but Global South faculties were the ones leading the way pedagogical approaches within the short courses became shaped and what the vision for the curriculum was, while European partners supported and acted as technical collaborators rather than being the agenda setters. The development of the courses followed a feedback loop which emerged through the project's quality assurance plan, and this loop meant creating a space for faculties to iterate, reiterate the teaching and learning methods, develop content with feedback and validation from a range of stakeholders, which included community practitioners, communities themselves who are living in climate vulnerable regions of the country, private sector stakeholders who wanted specific skill sets for the younger generation of workforce that were joining them. And as a result, this really embedded a more co-production approach at the heart of the curriculum development. Going through this process with the support from the European universities also helped Bangladeshi faculty strengthen their capacities. And it was not just capacity to teach a climate change course, it was the capacity to envision, to design, and to sustain a curricula which responds to the overall structural issues at macro and micro levels which emerge in the context of the climate crisis. The successful launch of the MOOCs also marked an important milestone in making the Global South leadership for climate change education more visible. The adaptation of the course to an online format was led by Bangladeshi faculties with support from Heidelberg University faculties, and it really focused on embedding a community-centered approach, which is quite difficult to do because there's a certain distance that comes between lived realities and what you can teach within a digital classroom. Sustainability was ensured through institutionalizing the project outputs. The MOOCs have been designed for multi-year delivery beyond the project period. Faculty capacity has generated spillover effects across curricula in the 3 Bangladeshi universities. And faculty capacity building has generated spillover effects across curricula and teaching practices in the 3 Bangladeshi universities. And I feel more importantly, community knowledge, which is represented through the case studies, fact sheets, and field-based activities that have been co-created, along with, ambassadors from the communities themselves who are part of the project, who come in as guest speakers as part of these courses. This has really strengthened the ability of Global South institutes to continue leading climate change education over a long-term period.